Hi everyone, my name is Dana. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about why I picked the names for my dogs that I picked. So starting off, I have Gunner and Ammo up here. Buddy is laying over there. He doesn't like furniture. Buddy, off the bat, he came with the name that I got him with. He was named Buddy, his owner had passed away, and out of respect for his owner, I kept his name. Now, if he was from a shelter or something in those regards, that would be a different scenario, because I think it's good to change a shelter dog's name just because they get away with being naughty so often at shelters. Sometimes changing the name gives them a new identity. It helps relearn who they are. It helps set a new boundary. Or the opposite side of things. It could have been a really negative experience for them, and hearing their shelter dog name could bring back negative responses. Whereas if you change a dog's name, you're helping them just have a fresh start. And with breeders, which I got Ammo from a breeder, I'll explain more, but breeders don't really care if you change their call name, even if they pick names. It's more to help just identify who is who. Yeah, they might really like the names, but I've heard of breeders who name a puppy a name just out of the theme, and then later on go, you know what, I'm going to use that name for an actual dog I decided to keep. So it's not so much that they're tied to the names. And I've never heard of a breeder being actually upset that you didn't keep a call name. Typically it's a theme, like Twilight. All the dogs are named after Twilight characters, or Ammo's from a Guns litter, so all the dogs were named gun themes. So each litter is a theme, but then, you can just change the dog's name when they grow up. So Gunner, I don't remember a lot of the names I had picked. I think one of them was Axel. So when I saw him, this was before I met him, his shelter dog name was Heath. What a difficult name to pronounce, first of all. I get why they did it, because he was a very intense dog, and they wanted him to be named after a candy to help him seem less intense and more friendly and more likable. But when you meet a dog, their name can only get them so far, and his name did not suit him at all, because at the time he was very intense. He was and still is a very powerful dog, a very assertive dog, and he's not the kind of dog who will back down. He's the kind of dog who will stand up for himself if he feels threatened. He's put himself in between the border collies and myself when he felt like they were threatened, to protect them. He is an excellent, excellent protector. So, I go to meet him at the shelter, and this dog is bouncing up, jumping, he's pulling on my sleeve, he's going crazy. I'm like, okay, Heath, yeah, definitely doesn't suit you. What a difficult name, will not be keeping that name. So I made a list. Axel was one of them. My mom wanted him to be named Boomer. I'm very glad, especially after the OK Boomer meme happened, that he was not named that. And I didn't really do a lot of Googling, but I just thought of the name Gunner. And I was like, you know what? That suits him pretty well. And so that's how he got named Gunner. I told the shelter that I was changing his name. They were totally fine with it. They gave me it's like a paracord rope that is on my keychain that has his name at the bottom, and it's like a little tag that says just adopted. And I still have that on my keychain. It's very special. And yeah, that's how I picked his name. And luckily, right from the beginning, I pretty much transferred him over to his new name. So it wasn't confusing for me. I didn't decide, after a couple months, oh, you know what? This is what I want to name him. So it was a pretty easy transition. However, up until meeting him, I saw his name, and that was a little confusing for me. That being said, I knew her name was Beretta the entire time she was a puppy, and for some reason, I could transfer her over to Ammo so easily. But basically, that's how I picked his name. He is not, obviously, AKC registered, as a purebred, but he is part of, Canine Partners, and his name is Gunner the Wonder Dog. Buddy is also registered in the AKC through his previous owner, and his name is Buddy Boy. That's his registered name, which is really cute. But yeah, so that's, I used to have a Instagram account. I changed it to Dana and Dogs, but now I'm mostly just through Shooting Star Border Collies. But when it was just me and Gunner, his Instagram was called Gunner the Wonder Dog. So when I registered him as a pal, no, not pal, canine. I think it's Canine Partners that he's registered through, actually, not pal. Did I say pal the first time? Either way, he's registered through not the purebred alternative listing, because he's not a purebred. And I just named him after the Instagram, the name of the Instagram page at the time. So yeah, pretty easy. She was a whole nother challenge, because I wanted to tie in when she was a puppy. She had a little spot on her back that was a heart shape, and as she got a little bit older, her nose turned into heart shape as well, which was so cute. So I wanted to tie that into everything a little bit. I wanted her name to match because I didn't have Buddy yet, so I'm like Gunner and something. I wanted it to go together. Once you have, like, for example, Buddy, Gunner, Ammo, then you don't really need a theme as much. But when I had just two, I'm like, okay, I don't want it to be like Gunner and Stacy. Not that there's anything wrong with the name Stacy, and I would never, I don't think I've ever met a dog named Stacy, but I'm just saying, like, two very different names, and I didn't want that to be the case with these two. I wanted them, like, if I'm going Gunner, Ammo, I wanted it to be where I could just call it, and it made sense, if that makes sense. So I was struggling. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I was so struggling, and basically there's a song by 21 Pilots called Ruby. It's like from one of their very old albums. And I was like, this is honestly like love themed, like this song is love themed, and I'd like to use that name later on, even if it is more of a generic name, but I'd like to tie it all into 21 Pilots. But I'm like, that's the only one I could think of that like tied into the love theme but did not tie into the Gunner theme. I'm like, I called my dad. My dad was working out of town, and I'm going, Dad, I don't know what I'm gonna name her. What would I do? What do I do? And he was saying first Gunner and Roses, like Guns and Roses. And I go, she's like, I just imagine a red border collie being named Roses. Same with Ruby, a red border collie, not a black and white one. But then he goes, oh, how about Ammo? And he said it as in ammunition. But little did he know, my favorite band is Bring Me the Horizon. Well, he knew that. But little did he know that one of their albums was called Ammo. A-M-O. And they have a song called Mother Tongue that's a more lovey song. And they say, don't say you love me, fala ammo. And there's a lyric, one of the verses says, oh love, I'm in trouble, I'm sorry, but you got me gushing all over the place. And basically, lay down. She knows that song. I sing it to her often because obviously it's her song. And that really got the wheels turning. I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, you saved me. You're a genius, but actually I'm the genius because her name is Ammo, not ammo like A-M-M-O. But it still is pronounced ammo like ammunition. But since it's spelled wrong, a lot of people go amo. So obviously, I'm kind of, mainly the reason why I'm doing this video is because a lot of people go, oh, like, why is your dog named that? What's your dog's name? Oh, it's spelled like this, why is that? And as much as I can explain why my dog is named the way she is, I love it. I love going into the details. Oh my gosh, when I figured out what I was gonna name her, I told her breeder right away. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is what I'm gonna do. And she's like, okay. I can see you put a lot of thought into it. I was like, yep. I was so, like, I'm so sad. I have a whole list of names now with like what I want their registered name to be and stuff like that. But ultimately, until you see the dog and meet the dog, there's only so much, you know, you can decide on. So basically, now I'll tell you her registered name outside of what her titles are, because even though they're part of her name, they don't really count. So she's registered in the American Border Collie Association, AKC, and UKC. So for the American Border Collie Association, they have such a small word limit. So her registered name is RM Fala Ammo. RM is the initials that her breeder required to be in the name, because when you're a breeder, typically you want some tie back to your kennel. Then her UKC name is Rising Moon Fala Ammo, because UKC also has a smaller portion, like you can't do as many letters as AKC. They can. I believe they let you pay for extra, but I was like, there's more AKC stuff around here than UKC. So I was like, I'd rather not spend extra money on something that, I mean, I've done a few competitions here and there, but it was mainly AKC. So I was like, giving her a fancy UKC name is not worth it. Then lastly, her AKC name is Rising Moon, Oh Love, I'm in Trouble. And I'm very, very proud of that name. And in the future, if she does have puppies, my goal is I want to keep them either Bring Me the Horizon themed or gun/weapon themed, because ammo can be both ways. Even though it's ultimately Bring Me the Horizon, most people just assume ammo, like ammunition, gunner, ammo. You know, it just, that makes a lot more sense. Most people don't expect Bring Me the Horizon. So I have a few names that I'm not going to say that I have picked out through Bring Me the Horizon, and a few names that I'm not going to say that I've picked out based off of like guns, even knives, things like that, that I think would be really cool like to carry on. Or if I got like an ammo half sibling or something, same thing. I would like to tie them all in together just because I think that's kind of fun. Obviously, if one dog that I get, even if it's related to her, just, you know, is not it does not fit into that category, I'm not going to go, well, we have to make it work. Because it's not that deep, honestly. It's just a fun thing for me that I like to think about for maybe the future. I'm very much, I really like thinking of all the names I'd like to use in the future. And obviously I'm very drawn to like, I've never met a dog named Ammo, like A-M-M-O. I'm sure there's some out there, so shout out if your dog is named Ammo, A-M-M-O. But I can say with certainty that I've definitely never seen a dog named AMO. So if your dog is named AMO, please let me know in the comments down below. Because I'm very curious. But yeah, so that is why I named my dogs and kind of what went into me naming the dogs I did. So yeah, Ammo's from a breeder called Rising Moon Border Collies, if you couldn't tell by the AKC names. Oh, and when she was a puppy, before I decided her name was Beretta. So she was from a guns litter, and some people were telling me just keep it Beretta. Gunner, Beretta, they match. But see, I didn't want to do that because I felt like it was a little bit too long of a name. I really like it's a very, like, the word is beautiful. It would be a beautiful name, honestly. But I'm just thinking, she's a border collie. She's fast. If she's on the run, I don't want to have to go, Beretta. I want to just go, Ammo. It's a, look at girl. And, like, even Gunner, I call him Gun a lot, too. So it's not like, you know, like, they have nicknames. Ammo's nickname, Ammo Bobammo, Princess, Girlfriend. She has a lot of, some people call her Ammy Banani. Like, you know, it's not just like she is just Ammo and that's it. But when I need to call her, it's Ammo. When I need Gun's attention, I go Gun. Like, so Buddy's the only one that doesn't have a shortened name. Obviously, there are some people who don't go into the details that I do for naming. There are some people who go even deeper into details than I do for naming. Ultimately, you know, like, the name is, like, people change their dogs' names. And they, like, I've met people who, they just go, this name really isn't it. Like, I'm gonna change it because it's not that deep. Like, it's not like people where you name your kid one name and then they're 10 years old and go, actually, I'm gonna change your name. It's a little different. Because dogs, you just positively associate them to this new word, and they go, oh, I like that word. So like it was the same thing with Gunner. For years afterwards, I could go Heath, Heath, and he would go, huh? Now he doesn't anymore, which I'm kind of happy about. But I mean, like, it's not like he was like, oh my gosh, I'm devastated that my name has been changed. It's just another word that he was positively associated with until they just kind of forget about the other one because we don't use it that much anymore. If you have any questions about naming a dog or how all that stuff works, or why is like you know what? Actually, time out. Last thing I want to talk about is why a dog's registered name is so long. I have some people who don't understand the competition world. Why is the dog just a bunch of random words? My favorite name was like, oh no, my mother-in-law, or something like that. Like, not a lot of people always take the registered name seriously, which is fine by me. I just am doing it this way for now because I like it, but that might change in the future. But basically it's to help distinguish the dogs if they're doing exceptionally well. Because there are a bunch of Gunners. There are millions of buddies. But if every dog's name was just the call name and that's it, how are you supposed to know which buddy is which? How are you supposed to know which Gunner is which? The registered name is kind of where the magic happens. And if you're competing and if you go through a good breeder, typically... Sorry, buddy just coughed. Anyways, typically a breeder will have you put their kennel name in front too, which makes the name even more unique than it already was. So some people go, that'll ruin the name. No, it won't. So like, for example, Rising Moon, oh love, I'm in trouble. It's like, even though there's no commas or anything, Rising Moon, that's me saying the kennel, oh love, I'm in trouble, that's her name. Her whole name is Rising Moon, oh love, I'm in trouble. But it's not like, anyone who knows, you know? There are some people who they could say, oh love, I'm in trouble, they could say, oh love, I'm in trouble at Rising Moon. That's another way you can tie in the kennel. Some breeders don't need the name to be in front. There's one breeder I know where they just need the word in there somewhere. Like, that's kind of, I'm using Rising Moon because that's where Ammo's from. I don't want to call out other breeders, just because. There are some breeders who don't care if the name is in there. And I will say typically those are for dogs who are going to companion houses or dogs that aren't exceptional when it comes to competitions, because as a breeder, typically if your dogs are doing well in competitions, you want people to know, yeah, this is my dog. I want to be proud of my puppy I produced. That's kind of a good mindset. But however, if you're just a pet breeder who put two pets together and the pets haven't really done anything to prove they're worthy of being bred, then, you know, that's where they go, oh, I don't really care what this dog is named, because it's not like they're going to be getting themselves attention in the competition scene anyways. Now, someone might get a puppy and do well in competitions, and that's great. But obviously there's a little bit of a difference compared to a performance breeder and just a pet breeder. But yeah, so with that being said, I'm pretty sure I kind of talked enough about naming dogs and how everything works. If you do have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you would like to share any of your unique dog names, AKC dog names, or like I said, if you have a dog named Ammo, AMMO or AMO, let me know, because I feel like at some point in my life I have seen, like on TikTok or something, a dog named Ammo, the AMMO, but I don't know. But I know dogs named Gunner. I don't know any dogs named Ammo. And I definitely don't know any dogs named Ammo. So, just, you know, let me know in the comments down below. If you have a dog named Buddy, I'm not surprised, because I feel like over 50% of the dog population is named Buddy. I'm just kidding. There's nothing wrong with the name Buddy. It's just more of a adjective. He is a buddy. That's not his name, that's what he is. He's the buddy. And he is. Oh my gosh. He's just the friendliest boy, and he just hangs out, and he just wants to be part of the group, and he's so happy. There's nothing not nice in that dog's brain. Only niceness. He's such a nice boy. He's a Buddy. So I would judge if your dog's name was Buddy and it just hated people, because then it's like, okay, why did you even name it that? I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's it of today's video. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of training videos recently. With it being cold, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So I'm probably going to do a little bit more sit down and talking videos for the future. But then we'll see if I can get to one of my kennel clubs to record some videos, and or we'll see what I can do out here. But yeah, with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Bye!